First of all, as far as Jamaica is concerned, what's happening with the climate? What is the impact of these extreme weather events, climate change on Jamaica?
Well, for Jamaica, the effect is more on the coastal water levels that we're beginning to see some action there, but more so on the actual movement of our beach and shorelines. But the impact is not as great as it is happening in other parts of the world. So, because tourism is such a huge part of the economies of us in the Caribbean, and that we are vulnerable to these and other types of climate events, we have to take a proactive position in regards to driving capacity to respond quickly, to mitigate, to manage, to recover, and to recover fast.
So what is this fund you'd like to see established?
So the fund is really to create a resource base for information development, for information dissemination, to create capacity to innovate and to build better and to be able to respond in a sharper and in nano time, so to speak, to these disruptions. I think that the private sector and the public sector are both partners in this exercise, because business has an enormous responsibility to protect itself and to ensure that the markets are secured. And we, on the public sector side, have the responsibility to create the mechanisms to facilitate that sort of
thing. So it would be what? It would be national governments, both in the region from outside, contributing, and also business. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's a broader call, because it's a global call. And it's not just the Caribbean that has this dependence. We've seen it all over. And even big cities have strong tourism impacts and are also affected by these disruptions. And to make the point that it's not just climate disruptions, we have pandemics. We're dealing with SARS, was, if you recall, when tourism didn't grow. And there were only 3 times in the last 50 years that tourism didn't grow. SARS was one, and then 9/11, that would be terrorism, and then the economic meltdown. Now we're faced with other issues.
What size of fund would you like?
Well, I haven't really conceptualized a number, because it's a growing reality. So what we need to make sure, however, is that the world understands that the smaller countries that are particularly vulnerable, that are the markets, will disappear.